3,000 years of peace had made humans forget how dangerous the universe could be. For centuries, Earth had lived without war, without fear from any alien species. Humans had grown proud. They built massive cities, floated huge space stations, and explored nearby planets, thinking the galaxy was theirs to enjoy. No one imagined that the long truce with the alien civilizations, called the Virulons, could ever end. Then the message came. It appeared on every screen at once. Large, glowing symbols of alien origin filled the monitors in offices, homes, and public squares. The message was simple, clear, and frightening. 3,000 years of peace are over. Prepare for war. Governments scrambled. Military leaders held emergency meetings. Scientists worked day and night to decode the message fully. The Virulents were not like humans. Their ships did not resemble anything humans had seen before. They moved silently through space, faster than any human sensor could track. Their communication style was strange, almost poetic, but the meaning was unmistakable. Despite the warnings, many humans laughed. "Finally, some excitement," said a young man in a cafe as he sipped his coffee. His friends chuckled. "I bet they can't even land on Earth without breaking half their ships." On television, news anchors repeated the message, but it sounded more like a prank than a real threat. "Experts say the aliens are probably bluffing. Humanity has survived worse," one anchor joked. People waved it off, going back to their lives, their work, and their entertainment. Social media exploded with memes of aliens holding tiny flags, asking humans for a tea party. But some humans took the warning seriously. A team of scientists at the Global Space Observatory noticed unusual patterns in the satellites. Strange energy readings were coming from nearby star systems. The sensors picked up something massive moving toward the solar system. Dr. Lena Patel, the lead scientist, called an emergency meeting with the military. "They're already here," she said. "Their ships are near Jupiter's orbit. They're not waiting for permission. They are watching, preparing." A general looked at her with skepticism. "Dr. Patel, I understand your concern, but 3,000 years of peace is nothing to ignore. Humanity has survived cosmic storms, rogue asteroids, and hostile environments. We can handle this too." Dr. Patel shook her head. "This is not like anything we've faced. Their technology is beyond our understanding. If we continue to ignore them, we risk the survival of our species." Still, the general dismissed the warning. In the days that followed, humans focused on minor diplomatic efforts. A few ambassadors were sent into orbit to meet with holographic representations of the Virulons. The aliens' ships loomed silently in the distance, gigantic and impossibly sleek, with surfaces that reflected starlight like black mirrors. The humans' emissaries tried to communicate, but their voices sounded small and uncertain against the calm, precise speech of the Virulons. "Your species underestimates the consequences of ignoring our warning," said the alien leader through the hologram. Its form shifted constantly, never staying the same for more than a moment. "We seek justice for the truce you have broken by neglect. Prepare for judgment." On Earth, the message caused mild panic in some cities, but laughter and disbelief in others. Many humans could not take it seriously. They said, 3,000 years without a war, and now they're scared because we built new cities? That's ridiculous." While humans debated and argued, the aliens quietly advanced. Satellites near Earth started to fail without explanation. Deep space scanners showed flashes of energy disrupting human sensors. Ships near Earth's orbit reported strange readings, gravity fluctuations, electronic failures, and signals that seemed to come from nowhere. Humans interpreted them as technical glitches. Meanwhile, civilians began to notice subtle changes. Birds behaved strangely, storms became unpredictable, and animals fled unusual areas. Dr. Patel warned that these could be signs of alien interference, but her words were drowned out by jokes on social media. Humans still thought their species was untouchable, the master of Earth. Despite this, small groups of humans began to prepare. Pilots tested experimental fighter ships, engineers worked on new weapons and defense systems. But funding was limited, and most leaders refused to invest heavily. "If this is really a war, we'll adapt when the time comes," said politicians. "No need to waste resources now." In the skies above Earth, alien scouts continued their silent observation. They watched the humans' behavior closely and made calculations. The Virulons were patient. They had fought civilizations before, and they understood the patterns of underestimation. They knew humans' arrogance would be their first weakness. Deep in orbit, the alien ships formed a ring around Earth. Their energy signatures pulsed with power. No human technology could match it. Yet the aliens hesitated. They had seen countless civilizations crumble at the first sign of overwhelming power, and the humans were behaving differently. They did not show fear. They mocked the threat, joked about invasion plans, and continued with their daily lives. The aliens were confused. No species had ever treated war warnings so lightly. On Earth, the media continued to downplay the threat. Talk shows invited celebrities to speculate about alien diets and favorite colors. Comic strips portrayed humans defeating aliens with baseball bats or clever tricks. The public laughed, entertained by the absurdity. Even the military sometimes joined in, posting videos of fighter jets performing stunts, calling it preparing for alien aerobatics. But not everyone laughed. Dr. Patel's team noticed that alien ships were changing their formation, moving closer to major cities. She warned again in a public broadcast, urging preparation. "We cannot predict their moves. This is not a simulation. We must be ready for war." Her words reached millions, but most tuned out, assuming it was fear-mongering. Meanwhile, small incidents started to occur. Communications were lost temporarily between continents. Power grids flickered in unusual patterns. Satellites went offline for hours. Localized storms appeared without warning. Each incident was minor, almost laughable, and authorities blamed natural causes. Humans continued to treat the events lightly. In the last weeks before the first strike, the aliens made one final attempt to communicate. Their ships emitted pulses that carried messages, but in forms humans barely understood. It was a warning and a test. Scientists worked feverishly to decode it, but only a few glimpsed the danger hidden within. The general public, distracted by entertainment and personal life, ignored it. And then, the night before the first attack, something strange happened. The skies turned bright with unusual auroras. People watched in awe and wonder, taking pictures and videos. Children laughed and pointed at the lights, unaware that they were produced by alien energy shields moving into position. Military personnel scrambled, but their warnings were lost in a sea of social media posts. No one expected a real attack. And yet the universe was quietly preparing to remind humanity of its limits. Dr. Patel stood on the roof of her observatory, staring at the sky. She knew the truth. She had tried to warn them, but centuries of peace had blinded humans. "They don't understand," she whispered. "They think this is a game, but it is not. And soon, they will learn." At that moment, across Earth, life continued almost normally. People laughed, joked, and made plans for the next day. The alien armada waited silently in orbit, patient, precise, and deadly. Humanity had been warned, and humanity had ignored it. Tomorrow, everything would change. The night sky above Earth was calm, almost peaceful, but the silence was a trap. Humans slept, unaware that their planet had become a target. For centuries, they had believed themselves safe, untouchable, and superior. But the Virulons were not here for peace. They had come to test humanity's strength, patience, and creativity. At Ezro 3:17 Universal Time, the first strike began. a massive alien ship appeared suddenly over the Atlantic Ocean. It was unlike anything humans had built or imagined. Smooth, dark, and impossibly large, the ship hovered silently, pulsing with energy that distorted the air around it. Human sensors registered it too late. By the time the data reached command centers, the ship had already fired its first energy pulse. The blast hit a naval base in the Caribbean, disabling it entirely. Ships, buildings, and communication towers vanished in an instant. Across the world, similar attacks began. Satellites in orbit failed mysteriously. Cities in Europe, Asia, and North America experienced sudden blackouts. Humans panicked briefly but refused to believe it was war. Some thought it was a technical malfunction, others assumed it was a coordinated terrorist attack. No one expected an alien invasion. In New York, Lieutenant Marco Reyes was on duty at a military radar station. The alarms blared as the sensors detected multiple incoming objects moving at impossible speeds. He stared at the screen in disbelief. "Sir, these readings, they're not possible," said his junior officer. "Nothing can move that fast, not even our fastest missiles." Marco shook his head. "I've seen a lot, but this is different. Everyone prepare for action. They're real. They're here." Meanwhile, civilians flooded the streets looking up at the sky. Bright streaks of energy cut through the darkness, and enormous shapes shimmered in the clouds. People ran. But fear was mixed with fascination. Many pulled out cameras and phones, capturing what they thought were rare natural phenomena. Few realized the danger was immediate and deadly. The Virulans struck with precision. Their attacks were not random. They targeted military installations, communication hubs, and spaceports. Within hours, several of Earth's orbital stations had been destroyed or disabled. The aliens did not simply attack to destroy, they attacked to test, to measure, and to learn. Yet humanity's response was not what the Virulans expected. In the ruins of a coastal city, emergency crews and civilians worked together. Pilots flew small fighter jets, often outdated, into dangerous situations. Using creative tactics, they lured alien scouts into traps. Engineers repurposed old satellites and drones, creating impromptu defense systems. Civilians joined in, offering food, transportation, and guidance. Fear did not stop humans, it fueled them. Dr. Lena Patel coordinated with military leaders from a command center deep underground. Her team worked tirelessly to analyze alien patterns, predicting their next moves. Using data from the destroyed satellites, she noticed a strange pattern in the attacks. The aliens seemed to avoid civilian areas initially, focusing on critical infrastructure. It was almost as if they were testing humans rather than seeking total destruction. "This is a strategy, not just an attack," she said. "They want to see how we react. They're studying us." Across the Pacific, Captain Aiko Tanaka piloted a fighter jet toward an alien scout. Her weapons were weak compared to the aliens' energy shields, but she did not give up. Using sharp maneuvers, she drew the scout into a canyon where civilian drones, guided by engineers, created a barrier of electromagnetic pulses. The alien ship faltered briefly, enough for her to escape. "Did you see that?" Aiko shouted over the radio. "We can fight them. We just need to think differently." The news spread quickly. Humanity began to realize that conventional methods were useless. Weapons could not destroy alien ships directly, but creativity, teamwork, and adaptability could save lives. Underground labs and improvised command centers sprung up in every continent. Hackers worked to decipher alien communication patterns, pilots tested impossible maneuvers, and scientists experimented with energy shields using whatever materials were available. Even ordinary civilians became heroes. In one European city, a school teacher named Jonas led a group of students to help move emergency supplies to shelters. Using bicycles and small electric vehicles, they avoided destroyed streets and blocked alien scans with reflective surfaces. In South America, farmers built rudimentary barriers to protect critical water pumps from alien energy pulses. The Virulans noticed these behaviors. Their initial calculations had assumed fear and surrender. They expected humans to panic, scatter, and fail under pressure. But humans adapted. Their unpredictability, combined with teamwork and ingenuity, frustrated the alien forces. For the first time in centuries of interstellar warfare, the Virulans encountered a species that did not act like prey. In orbit above Earth, alien commanders communicated in complex waves of energy. "They are unexpected," one said. "They do not fear us as other species do. Their resilience is remarkable." "Yes," replied another. "Their responses are chaotic, but effective. We must adapt quickly." On Earth, stories of human heroism spread rapidly. Pilots like Iko became legends overnight. Engineers who rigged old satellites into temporary defenses were praised as geniuses. Civilians who risked their lives to protect communities inspired millions. Humanity's spirit, bold, creative, and unbreakable, became a force the aliens had not anticipated. Even as cities burned and lives were lost, humans refused to give up. They learned from each encounter, adjusting strategies on the fly. Where alien energy pulses struck, humans built reflective barriers and shelters. Where communication networks failed, they improvised analog systems. Where weapons failed, they found weak points in alien shields using observation and logic. The turning point came when a small squadron of pilots, using untested tactics, managed to temporarily disable an alien scout ship. They had not destroyed it completely, but their victory was symbolic. It showed that humans could fight back, not with raw power alone, but with intelligence, courage, and creativity. In New York, Dr. Patel addressed a live broadcast, speaking directly to millions of viewers. "We are facing a threat unlike any we have seen, but we are not helpless. We have courage, intelligence, and creativity. If we work together, we can survive, and even win." Her words inspired the public. Volunteers joined military units, engineers shared knowledge openly, and communities coordinated like never before. The first strike of the Virulans, intended to intimidate and destroy, instead united humanity in ways that centuries of peace had never done. By the end of the first day, the aliens had destroyed key infrastructure, yes, but they had also underestimated humanity's adaptability. Their attacks had revealed weaknesses, yes, but they had also revealed human strengths. Above all, humans had refused to panic. They had not surrendered. They had not lost hope. And in doing so, they had become a species more dangerous than the Virulans had predicted. At night, as smoke rose from the ruined cities and emergency sirens continued to wail, humans looked up at the stars with determination. Children huddled in shelters, asking questions about the strange lights above. Teachers answered as best they could, showing maps of the alien ships and explaining how humans could resist. Engineers repaired damaged communication systems. Pilots trained for the next day. Dr. Patel and her team worked late into the night, analyzing every strike and every response. "They thought we would surrender," she whispered to her assistant. "They thought 3,000 years of peace made us weak. But we are not weak. We are human." The aliens, in orbit above, observed silently. They adjusted their strategies, noting patterns and anomalies in human behavior. They had fought countless civilizations before. They had conquered worlds with superior technology and strategy. But Earth was different. Humanity did not react predictably. They did not panic. They adapted, they learned, and they fought back, not as individuals, but as a species united by creativity and courage. The first strike was over, but the war had just begun. Humans had suffered losses, but they had survived. They had shown the Virulans that Earth was not an easy target, and for the first time, the aliens realized that victory would not come quickly or easily. On Earth, The world's population went to sleep that night under a sky streaked with alien energy, unaware that their fight was far from over. Yet something had changed. Fear had not conquered them. Confusion had not paralyzed them. Humanity had begun to understand its greatest weapon, its own indomitable spirit. Tomorrow, humans would strike back. The sky above Earth still burned with streaks of alien energy. Cities were damaged, communication networks unstable, and fear lingered in the air. Yet humanity had survived the first strike. More than that, humans had learned something important. The Virulons were powerful, but they were not infallible. In the weeks after the initial attacks, humans organized themselves in ways never seen before. Governments, scientists, engineers, pilots, and civilians worked together, sharing information and ideas. Old military bases were converted into command centers. Engineers rigged damaged satellites to relay emergency signals. Hackers studied alien communication patterns, discovering weaknesses that had gone unnoticed in the first strike. Every human effort counted. Captain Aiko Tanaka, now recognized as one of Earth's most daring pilots, led a small squadron on reconnaissance missions. Using unpredictable flight patterns, they observed alien movements while avoiding direct attacks. Each encounter taught them something new about alien tactics, weapons, and shields. Their experiences were shared immediately with scientists and strategists, who adapted human defenses continuously. "Every ship has a rhythm," Aiko explained to her team after a mission. "Every pulse, every shield flicker tells us something. Watch closely, and we can predict their next move." In Europe, Dr. Lena Patel and her team had developed a small device capable of temporarily disrupting alien energy shields. It was crude, dangerous, and could only be used once per encounter, but it gave humans a fighting chance. Field tests proved successful. A single disrupted alien scout ship could be forced to retreat or crash. The news spread rapidly, boosting morale across the globe. Humans also learned to use their environment strategically. Cities, mountains, forests, and oceans became part of their defense systems. Pilots lured alien ships into areas where natural terrain interfered with their sensors. Engineers created electromagnetic nets using repurposed technology. Civilians volunteered to guide emergency supplies, mark safe routes, and even hide equipment from alien scans. The entire planet became a network of resistance. Meanwhile, the Virulons were forced to adjust their plans. Their initial assumption had been that fear would dominate human behavior. They had expected panic, surrender, and rapid defeat. Instead, humans fought back with creativity, courage, and teamwork. Each new defense, each new tactic frustrated the alien commanders. "They are different," said one virulent strategist in orbit above Earth. "They do not behave like other species we have faced. They are unpredictable, yet coordinated. Their resistance grows stronger with each attack." "Yes," replied another. "We must adapt quickly. This is no simple conquest." The first major counterattack began near the Pacific coast. Using newly developed tactics, humans set up an ambush for an alien supply ship. Engineers rigged satellites and drones to create temporary signal interference, confusing the alien navigation systems. Pilots flew at unpredictable angles, luring the ship into a narrow canyon. When the alien vessel was trapped, Dr. Patel's team deployed their shield-disrupting device. The alien ship faltered, engines failing temporarily, and it crashed into the ocean with a massive explosion. The victory was symbolic but powerful. Humans had proven that, despite inferior technology, their ingenuity and adaptability could match alien power. News of the success spread quickly, inspiring other cities and military units to take bolder action. Civilians volunteered for dangerous tasks, hackers shared breakthroughs with the military, and pilots tested even riskier maneuvers. Humanity was learning fast. In Africa, small groups of resistance fighters sabotaged alien supply lines. Using rudimentary vehicles and tools, they blocked roads, redirected energy pulses, and created illusions that confused alien sensors. In South America, engineers transformed old satellites into early warning systems, giving cities time to prepare for incoming attacks. Humanity's decentralized approach, once seen as inefficient, became their greatest strength. Even children contributed. In safe zones, they helped engineers assemble reflective panels and monitor energy patterns. They learned to recognize alien drones from a distance and signal warnings. Each individual, regardless of age or skill, had a role to play. The Virulans observed this unity with a mixture of confusion and respect. As weeks passed, humans became bolder. They combined old and new technology in unexpected ways. Space stations, once vulnerable, were fortified using shields improvised from civilian materials. Hackers found ways to intercept alien communications, feeding misinformation to enemy scouts. Pilots coordinated with engineers on the ground to create traps and diversions. Even in damaged cities, people continued to live, work, and fight. Markets reopened in partially destroyed areas, schools ran in temporary shelters, and transportation systems improvised to move supplies and personnel. Humanity had refused to surrender, and the planet had adapted to war conditions remarkably fast. In orbit, the Virulans debated their next steps. "They underestimate them," one commander admitted. "We cannot rely on conventional attacks. Their adaptability is formidable." "Yes," another said. "Their strategy is simple yet effective. Every citizen is part of the defense. They fight not for conquest, but for survival, and that makes them dangerous." The aliens' frustration grew with each encounter. Ships designed to strike and destroy quickly were delayed by human tactics. Temporary victories, like the ambush in the Pacific, forced them to retreat and recalibrate. Humans learned from every strike, improving defenses and anticipating alien strategies. Each loss strengthened their resolve. One of the most daring human operations occurred near the Indian Ocean. A squad of pilots and engineers created a floating network of energy reflectors using ships, buoys, and repurposed satellite fragments. The alien vessels approached, expecting easy destruction, only to have their energy pulses reflected back toward them. One ship was damaged so badly it retreated from Earth orbit entirely. The humans celebrated, not with arrogance, but with careful planning for the next challenge. As human tactics evolved, so did morale. People no longer acted out of fear, they acted out of determination. Communities rallied around military and civilian leaders, creating coordinated responses on a scale never seen before. Information flowed rapidly between continents, allowing humans to adapt faster than the aliens could predict. Dr. Patel observed the progress with cautious optimism. "We've turned the first attacks into lessons," she said to her team. "Every failure teaches us something. Every success shows that humans can fight together against overwhelming odds. This is just the beginning." Meanwhile, Captain Aiko Tanaka led a daring mission over Europe. Using knowledge gained from previous encounters, she and her squadron attacked an alien transport ship attempting to land troops. Pilots maneuvered through city ruins and mountains, evading alien weapons. Engineers on the ground sent signals that temporarily blinded the ship's sensors. Aiko's squadron managed to destroy critical systems, forcing the ship to retreat. The Virulans were forced to acknowledge a harsh truth. Humanity's creativity, courage, and determination made them unpredictable and dangerous. Their expectation that fear would dominate human behavior had been wrong. They had assumed a quick conquest was possible. Instead, they faced a species that adapted, learned, and fought back with intelligence and unity. On Earth, people celebrated each small victory cautiously. They knew the war was far from over. Cities remained damaged. Communication networks were unstable, and the threat of alien strikes persisted. Yet hope thrived. Humanity had discovered that even in the face of superior technology, ingenuity and cooperation could level the playing field. Even in the darkest hours, humans refused to give up. Children played near shelters, learning the skills they might need in the future. Scientists worked tirelessly to improve defenses. Pilots tested new tactics. Civilians risked their lives to deliver supplies and aid to those in danger. Humanity's spirit, once dismissed by the Virulons, became its greatest weapon. By the end of the third week, the war had shifted. Humans had inflicted damage on alien forces, disrupted supply lines, and learned to anticipate attacks. The Virulons, initially confident in their superiority, began to approach Earth with caution. They adapted their strategies, but humans had already learned to counter their adaptations. Dr. Patel addressed a global broadcast, speaking directly to millions of people. "We have faced a threat greater than anything in our history, and yet we have survived. We have learned, adapted, and fought back. Humanity's strength lies not in technology alone, but in creativity, courage, and unity. Together, we are unstoppable." Her words inspired even more people to contribute. Volunteers joined military units, engineers shared breakthroughs openly, and pilots tested riskier maneuvers. Humanity's efforts had become a symphony of coordination, intelligence, and courage. In orbit, the Virulons observed the growing resistance with a mixture of frustration and respect. They realized that Earth was not a simple conquest, and that humanity's unpredictability was its greatest weapon. No alien force had ever faced a species so willing to fight, adapt, and learn. The first phase of war was over. Humans had survived the initial strikes and had begun to strike back. They had turned desperation into opportunity, chaos into strategy, and fear into determination. The Virulons, who had expected a quick and easy victory, now faced a species they had underestimated, a species that refused to bow to fear, that adapted with astonishing speed, and that had become a truly formidable opponent. Tomorrow, humans would continue to fight. Tomorrow, the war would escalate further. And tomorrow, humanity would show the universe that even against overwhelming odds, they were never to be underestimated. Earth had changed. Cities bore scars of alien energy strikes, and communication networks were partially rebuilt. Humanity had survived the first waves of attacks, adapted, and even struck back successfully. But the war was far from over. The Virulons, initially confident of an easy victory, had begun to understand that humans were unlike any species they had ever encountered. In the skies above the Pacific Ocean, human pilots coordinated attacks with precision and creativity. Captain Aiko Tanaka led a squadron of modified fighter jets, each one equipped with improvised shielding devices and communication jammers. Their goal was not simply to destroy alien ships, which was nearly impossible, but to disrupt supply lines, confuse navigation systems, and gather intelligence. "Remember," Aiko told her team, "we are not just fighting, we are learning. Every strike, every maneuver, every encounter teaches us something. Adapt, observe, survive." Engineers on the ground worked in parallel. Using repurposed satellites, electromagnetic fields, and energy reflectors, they created temporary barriers that slowed alien movements. Drones were deployed to monitor alien ships, tracking their patterns and transmitting data to command centers. Scientists like Dr. Lena Patel analyzed the data to identify weaknesses. Each day, humans became more prepared, more organized, and more dangerous. The first decisive human victory occurred near the Indian Ocean. A Virulan transport ship carrying troops attempted to land on a remote island. Humans had prepared an ambush. Pilots lured the ship into a narrow valley, while engineers activated a network of reflective panels and improvised energy disruptors. The alien ship's sensors failed, its engines faltered, and the troops were stranded. Human forces moved quickly, capturing critical alien technology and studying it. The success was not just tactical, it was symbolic. Humans had proven that ingenuity, courage, and adaptability could overcome technological superiority. Across the globe, people celebrated small victories while continuing to repair infrastructure and assist civilians. Hope was spreading. Even ordinary citizens played critical roles. In Europe, volunteers guided emergency supplies through dangerous streets. In Africa, farmers repurposed vehicles and equipment to block alien energy pulses. In Asia, hackers intercepted alien communications, feeding misinformation back to enemy scouts. Every individual, no matter their role, contributed to the resistance. The Virulans, observing from orbit, realized that humans were learning faster than expected. Their previous assumptions, fear, surrender, and easy defeat, had been wrong. Humans were unpredictable, clever, and persistent. Each failed attack against Earth revealed not weakness, but strength. "They adapt quickly," said a Virulan commander. "They combine intelligence with courage. We cannot predict them like other civilizations." "Yes," replied another. "Their unity is extraordinary. They fight not only with weapons, but with mind and spirit." The aliens adjusted their strategies, sending more ships, stronger weapons, and energy pulses designed to disrupt human coordination. Yet humans had already adapted to these measures. Engineers and pilots worked together to counter alien technology using observation, experimentation, and creativity. No tactic went untested, no weakness was ignored. In South America, a small team led by engineer Diego Alvarez built an energy net that could temporarily disable alien drones. Using a combination of satellite fragments and ground-based generators, they created a field that confused alien navigation systems. Pilots flew through the field, forcing alien ships into traps. One drone crashed into the jungle while others retreated. The success inspired other teams to develop similar devices, spreading innovation across continents. Meanwhile, Dr. Patel and her research team made a breakthrough. By analyzing alien energy pulses, they discovered a way to interfere with shield frequencies for brief periods. The device was risky. One wrong calculation could destroy it and harm the user, but it could turn the tide of a critical engagement. Within days, the technology was deployed in coordinated strikes. Alien ships faltered when the device activated, giving humans precious seconds to attack or evade. Human pilots, engineers, and civilians worked in perfect coordination. Where alien technology was stronger, human creativity found solutions. Where alien strategy was predictable, human improvisation countered it. The war became a test not just of power, but of intelligence, ingenuity, and resilience. In the skies above Europe, Captain Aiko led another daring mission. Her squadron drew alien ships into a canyon where temporary energy reflectors and shield disruptors were waiting. The aliens faltered, their ships forced to retreat temporarily. Aiko's team captured valuable alien technology, which engineers immediately studied to improve Earth's defenses. The tide of war was turning. Humans were no longer merely defending. They were striking back, learning from each encounter, and gradually forcing the aliens to respect Earth as a formidable opponent. Even in damaged cities, life continued. Markets reopened in partially destroyed areas. Schools taught children survival and problem-solving skills, and communities coordinated to share information and resources. Humanity's resilience was not limited to soldiers or scientists. It was universal. Every person in every city became part of the defense of the planet. In orbit, the Virulans held emergency meetings. Their commanders were frustrated and confused. The humans' creativity, courage, and unity had made them unpredictable and dangerous. Every strategy they deployed was met with an innovative countermeasure. Their numerical and technological superiority was no longer enough. "They fight not as individuals, but as one species," said a Virulon leader. "Each human contributes, each human learns. Their coordination is remarkable." "Yes," replied another. "We must consider negotiations. This war cannot be won easily, and continued conflict may cost us more than we can afford." On Earth, humans continued to press their advantage. Pilots, engineers, scientists, and civilians worked tirelessly to push the aliens back. Each day brought new victories, new knowledge, and new hope. Humanity had shown that even in the face of overwhelming odds, determination and ingenuity could turn the tide. By the end of the second month of war, humans had regained critical territory. Several alien ships had been destroyed or forced to retreat. Supply lines were disrupted. Temporary bases were established in strategic locations. Humans had learned not only to survive, but to thrive in conditions of extreme danger. Dr. Patel addressed a global broadcast, speaking to millions of people. "We have faced a threat unlike any in our history. We have adapted, learned, and fought back. Humanity's strength lies not in technology alone, but in courage, creativity, and unity. Together, we have turned the tide of war. But our work is not finished. We must continue to learn, to innovate, and to protect our planet. The universe has underestimated us for too long. Humanity will not be defeated." Her words inspired even more people to contribute. Volunteers joined military units, engineers shared breakthroughs openly, pilots tested daring maneuvers, and civilians coordinated support networks. Humanity's efforts had become a symphony of intelligence, creativity, and courage. The Virulons, who had expected an easy conquest, now faced a species they had underestimated. They realized that victory on Earth would not come quickly or easily. Humans were not just survivors, they were innovators, strategists, and fighters united by a common purpose. Finally, after months of conflict, the Virulons sought a new truce. They approached human leaders with proposals for negotiations. Terms were discussed, and this time the aliens recognized Earth's strength and humanity's ingenuity. The truce favored humans, granting them access to advanced technologies and acknowledging their resilience. Earth had survived an unprecedented test, and humans had emerged stronger, smarter, and more united. Captain Aiko Tanaka reflected on the months of conflict. "We fought not just with weapons, but with our minds, our creativity, and our spirit. That is what made the difference. Humanity has proven that we are not to be underestimated." Dr. Patel nodded. "We have learned more than just how to defend ourselves. We have learned that fear is not our guide. Our intelligence, courage, and unity are. We are stronger than any threat because we fight together, and we never give up." Across the planet, people celebrated cautiously. Cities were rebuilt, supply lines restored, and communities strengthened. Humanity had not only survived a deadly war, but had grown through it. The world had changed, but the human spirit remained unbroken, unbowed, and unstoppable. The Virulons departed, leaving Earth intact, but with a lasting respect for the species they had underestimated. Humans had proven that their greatest weapon was not technology alone, but creativity, courage, unity, and an unyielding spirit. And as the stars shone brightly above the repaired cities, humans looked to the future with confidence. They had faced an enemy thought to be invincible, and had triumphed. The galaxy would remember this lesson. Humanity is never to be underestimated. Earth had won the war, but more importantly, humans had won their own confidence. Their ingenuity, adaptability, and resilience had been tested, and they had passed with flying colors. The war was over, but humanity had learned a lesson that would last for millennia. The universe was vast and full of unknown dangers, but humans now knew that together they could face anything.